All right, quick disclaimer. 1, this video is meant for sharing, so by all means, share. 2, the article I'm going to read is going to be in the description and a link to the original on the blog. And you are more than welcome to use the text in its entirety and put it wherever you like on the internet, as long as you include my name and a link to either this video or the original article. Okay, that's the only two conditions. Otherwise, have at it, go crazy, spread the word, because this is important. All right, listen. Bottom line, AI writing and art is stealing. End of story. Okay, I'm going to give it to you straight, point blank, full-blown black and white, so there's no miscommunication. The publishing industry was headed toward danger about a decade ago when the digital publishing boom hit. I said back then it would lead to problems, and it was proven right. Now we're at the precipice of a giant problem, and it's due to the use of AI for writing and art. To keep it simple, how AI produces a work of art or a written piece. In short, it scours the internet for the information you provided it by answering a few prompting questions in the AI generator, and then the AI machine spits out what you asked for. It goes and roams the internet and takes a bit from column A, a bit from column B, some more from column C, and so on, and then brings back to you what it found based on what you told it to create in a mix that it calls writing and art. Okay? Look, there's only one way to look at this. Theft. Plagiarism. Stealing. It's breach of copyright, perhaps even trademark, and for what? Money? That is not a valid excuse. This is no different than me being a good thief. A smart thief doesn't go and try and knock over a bank for a big payday. They typically also don't go for obvious outlets like a jewelry store for the same thing. They have other ways, right? A smart thief goes to their friend's house and steals a few bucks, then heads to their other friends for that silver bracelet they know their friend has and is meant for pawning off later. They go to Aunt Jane's and pocket a few small valuables, maybe some change lying around. In the end, the thief has a pile of stolen items from various places, which then gets turned into whatever they want. Cash, something to barter with, something to feed an addiction, whatever. The point is, they stole. If a cop was watching you when you did this, you'd bet you'd be getting a stern talking to, never mind any potential consequences, okay? AI is no different than the above example. If you're a writer or an artist using AI, you are a thief and a disgrace to the industry and to the craft. End of story. There is no discussion because there's no other way to look at it. Artists and writers are to create from the heart, create from the mind, and create through actual effort and special thought to produce what they're making. Cheating artists use technology to do the things they can't because they're inept at actually doing the work themselves. Sure, AI's gathering of info is a bit from here, a bit from there, all tiny amounts to make the big item at the end. But guess what? A small theft is just as bad as a big one. Stealing a pack of gum at a 7-Eleven makes you just as much of a thief as the guy who broke into a family's house with a gun and forced them to fork over their valuables. A court of law would, of course, weigh each situation differently, but the underlying verdict would remain the same: stealing. This is like selling prints at a con with a character you don't own. It's irrelevant if it's your drawing. If you don't own the character and you drew a picture and are asking money for it, you're ripping people off. And you're ripping off the people who own the character. Further, those of you who are standing by and not saying anything, guess what? You're just as guilty. See, there's this thing with stealing called abetting. If you're with your friend or anyone else and you see them pocket something that doesn't belong to them and they get caught and it's found out that you saw but didn't alert anybody, you're just as guilty for not voicing the crime. Your punishment might be lighter, but either way, you're just as bad because you're not saying anything aided the crime. It helped the bad guy out. Stop stealing. Create your own stuff. Pay the price of learning your craft and getting good at it instead of cheating your way to where you want to go with the almighty dollar being the end game. Or simple laziness or selfishness. Pick your negative trait. Okay, look, let's be very clear on this point. Art is not about money. That's a side benefit. Art is about you and your heart, your mind, and your soul. Art is about expressing those things authentically through your mediums of choice. Art is not a computer thieving one-sentence ideas from someone else's art studio. Worse, if you're passing your AI stuff off as your own, or even if you have an AI disclaimer, but are in the end asking money for the stuff you stole, guess who you're also ripping off? Your audience, your readers, the very precious people who should be treated with dignity and respect, not shame and disrespect by giving them something you didn't make and pretending you did. Listen, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, but it's going to require you to step up, all right? Yeah, actual effort, that needs to be done. But also this, artists and writers control this industry, not the other way around. Not one company, not two, not even several. Creators are led to believe the industry is in the corporation's control. But guess what? The industry is based on what we produce. Therefore, as producers, the control is in our hands. If we stop being complacent, stop taking the easy way out, stop dumping all our efforts promoting one platform, and this list goes on, things could change. But it needs to be a group effort. My single voice on the topic is like shouting to the front man at a blaring rock concert. They're not going to hear me. But if the crowd shouted at them together, you bet there'd be a reaction, maybe even a pause in performance, and maybe even some back and forth discussion. Things happen at concerts. This is common knowledge. Same deal applies here. Speak up. Step up. Don't use AI. Be yourself. Do your thing. Be patient. Take your time, like every other writer and artist before you. Let yourself grow in your craft so that whatever you produce is genuinely from you and not from anyone or anything else. That's a real artist. That's a real writer. Anything less, and you're not either of those. You could pretend to be, but beneath the facade, if you're using AI, you're no better than a thief, and nobody likes a thief. As for me, and many I know, no, we won't be reading your work. We won't even be looking at your art. And you will definitely not get a sale out of us. Forget that. Stop stealing. You're better than that. Step up. Speak up. Make the effort. Otherwise, if we don't act together, every single one of us will be screwed. Okay, listen. I've been at this stuff for 25 years, okay? I'm not an idiot, nor am I naive when it comes to this business. I've done deals with New York. I've published independently, even back when it was sneered at and you were a laughingstock in the business and even amongst your peers. I've sold stories and articles and a pile of other stuff to various publications via my own artistic time put in efforts. I've run my own publishing house. I've negotiated between myself, an agent, and Simon & Schuster. The list goes on and on. The only point I'm making here is simply to answer this one question. What do you know? Who are you? Well, that's who I am, okay? I have experience. I predicted piss-poor sales for authors after the digital publishing boom was completely right. And now I predict sales to become near non-existence once AI floods the market from thieves who are only after a payday. And, sadly, there is no artistic integrity in some folks. They just want money. Greed is poison. Get a handle on it before it gets a handle on you. If you need an example of what greed can do, you don't have to look further than out your front door. Got it? Grow up. Put in the time, put in the work, be the real deal. This world is full of phonies and unreliable people. Think hard. Is that who you want to be? A crook? A demonstrable crook? Don't be a thief. I don't care if you're one fish in the pond doing it. I don't care if there are several of you doing it. I quit the publishing business a long time ago and opted to make books instead for a reason, and I'm still outside the biz in that context. And I will stay in that arena for the rest of my creative career because I refuse to swim with thieves. Stop it. Speak up. Let's work together instead and turn this thing around before it's too late. And mark my words, soon it will be too late. Go.